This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Welcome to our flower series. In this video, we're going to be piping Buttercream coreopsis flowers. It's broken down into steps so you can skip ahead, rewind, and rewatch as desired. We're going to make two colors for our Buttercream coreopsis, and I've gone with a nice kind of orange and yellow for this one. And so the first one we're going to make is the yellow. We're going to use this both for centers and for the outside edge of our petals. And we're going to use the following liquid gel colors with our American style buttercream: sunset orange, lemon yellow, buckeye brown, and finally some red. So for my first color, I'm just going to make some nice bright yellow. So just start with one drop. You might need an extra one, but we're not doing that much buttercream, so just start with one. We want a nice, bright, vibrant yellow. And we're going to make like a nice kind of rusty red color to go with it. There we go. That's lovely. Beautiful, bright, vibrant. It's going to deepen as it develops and give us that nice, intense, citrusy, lemony yellow that's going to be perfect for these petals. Our second color is going to be a rust kind of red color, and we want it to be kind of intense. So we're going to start out with drops, and I'm going to do a red and a sunset orange. And then we're just going to use a little bit of that brown. So I've just got a little buckeye brown out here, and I'm just going to do some little specks. And that's going to help give it that kind of lovely rust-colored vibe. So let's just mix this around. We'll see where we're at. We'll add a little more color if needed, based on where we're landing. For right now, it's kind of, let's say, a beautiful rust orange, and I want it to be more of a rust red. So I'm just going to go a little more on that red and just bump up that little brown feel a tiny touch. And this should take it more to that kind of bittersweet color where it's got more red than orange in it. And that little bit of brown should give it that nice kind of rust-colored vibe. And I like this color for kind of end of summer, heading into fall. It's really beautiful, and it's great for a variety of different flowers. We're going to use two bags for the following flower, and you can see we've one fitted directly with the tip, and the second one with a coupler, since we're going to use more than one tip. Our first bag, we're using a number 104. So this is a plain, straight petal tip, and you can see we have it loaded so that it's striped. And we have yellow on the top lined up with the skinny end of the tip. And we have that nice rusty red color at the bottom. And this is going to give us a two-tone petal. Our second bag has just yellow in it, and we have it with a coupler since we're going to be using more than one tip. The first one we're using is a number 7. So you can see it's a large, plain, round opening. The second is a number 2. So we want a smaller, plain, round opening. Now let's review the techniques we're going to use for our coreopsis flowers. The first are our petals, and we're using our 104 tip. We're going to have the back of the bag towards 3 o'clock, and we're going to be at a 45-degree angle. I want to kind of control the rate at which the frosting comes out. If I lay it too flat, it's going to have a little too much freedom to come out too wide, and I don't want these petals to be that wide. So kind of tilting it at that 45-degree angle should help control how fat my petals get. And we'll start with the fat end towards the middle, the skinny end out, and we're going to pull kind of what I call a nice jagged shape. And our idea here is to get kind of like 3 little, I'm not even sure what to call them, 3 little mounds there on the end, and that's going to give us a nice, beautiful shape to the end of those petals. And you can see that yellow is coming out on the tips, and we've got the red towards the center, so it gives us a nice two-tone petal as well. For our centers, we're going to do dots, And we're gonna do larger ones with the 7 and smaller ones with the 2. So we're just gonna do a quick review with the 7 because really it's the same thing with both. And so we're using a larger tip, so we wanna be a little further away from the surface. So further away for the 7 than you are for the 2. And we just wanna give it a nice squeeze. Let that frosting balloon out and get nice and full. Stop and then swirl it around and off to the side. And that should give us a lovely dot. And this large one is going to form the basis for the center of our flower. Now let's review how we're going to take those techniques and combine them together. So how we're going to build our coreopsis flower. First, we're going to use our bag with our 104. We're going to make sure we're lined up correctly because we want the yellow on the outside edge and that beautiful rust color towards the center of our petals. And we're going to pipe 6 to 8 of those kind of jagged edged petals. So remember to do that 3 little bumps there. So one small, one a little longer, and one a little shorter again. And that should give us those characteristic looks to the ends of these petals where they're a little uneven, maybe a little ragged might be a better word to describe them. But we want to get about 6 to 8 on there. So just go right next to each other, one after another, and fill in around. Do as many as you need to get back to the beginning. Next, we're going to change for our bag of yellow. Start with the number 7 tip, and we're going to put a really nice big dot there in the center. And then we're going to change it out for the 2 and go around our large dot and do smaller dots. And these flowers have a little bit of a different kind of center where it's kind of like it's opening up a little bit, and they'll have almost a smoother looking surface in the middle, and they'll have a lot of texture around the edges. So that's kind of what we're trying to achieve here, is that look of a nice smooth inside to the center and a little bit of texture on the outside edge. So I'm going to start with 1 ring of those small dots with the number 2, and if I need to, do a second one inside, just if it needs a little more, or if it needs to look a little more finished, but you can probably get away with just doing 1. Now that we've reviewed our techniques, let's get started on piping. I've got my large 3-inch flower nail out. I've got a little piece of parchment stuck to the top with some extra buttercream, and I've got my bag that has my striped buttercream in it and my 104 tip on it. And I'm going to start with my petals. So fattened, anchored right there in the center, right where the center of my flower is going to be. Back into the bag is off towards 3 o'clock, and I've got it at a 45-degree angle. And I just want to come out and make my beautiful jagged petals, so those 3 little swoops there, and I'm just going to go right next to it to do the next one. And I'm just going to go around until I meet back up with the center. So do as many petals as you need to. To fill in that area and connect everything together. So it's 3, 6, 7, oh, gonna be 8. We're gonna switch to our bag of yellow that has our coupler. We're starting with our number 7. We're gonna be straight up and down, and I wanna line it up right over the center where all those petals meet. Just give yourself some height above that buttercream so your frosting can connect and balloon out and give you a nice dot. When you finish, stop squeezing and swirl around. Now we've changed our tip on our bag of yellow to our number 2. And we're going to put on our small dots. And I want to start right at the base of my large dot where it meets up with my petals. And I'm just going to go in. And because we're going at kind of an unusual space there, and we're not piping down on the surface, you'll notice I've actually got it at a 45-degree angle because this is going to be straight on for where we're piping. So I just want to start like right at the base, do a nice little row of dots. This can help kind of correct the shape of your big dot if it got a little off, which can happen because we're piping on a slightly uneven surface, right? We're going on top of all those petals, and where they meet up and their exact height can mean that sometimes the dot that we pipe on top of them isn't exactly perfectly round. You can see I get one little row around there, and you start to see a little bit of texture. Now you can come up easily right on top of it and do a second row. And if you're fine with one row, you can stop there, but I like doing a second one. I feel like it really helps drive home the look that we have this ring at the outside edge of the center that's kind of opening up, where that kind of center almost blossoms. I'm guessing that's it, kind of releasing its pollen, doing all the things that make my seasonal allergies bad. But you can see that gives us a nice little textured ring around the outside edge of that center, with a nice smooth surface in the middle. So it gives us just a little bit of interest on the centers of these flowers, and it helps us kind of fudge the shape and get a nice round circle in there a little bit if we didn't to begin with. So that's a great way to add just a little bit of texture and interest and give you a little variation on the normal smooth centers. That's all for this lesson on our beautiful coreopsis flowers. If you enjoyed this one but think maybe it's a little too difficult for your skill level yet, try checking out our tutorial on daisies. They're a nice place to start. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.